2013 Honda F6B.
Alrighty, so out on Mines Road. This part of Mines Road's not the smoothest road whatsoever, but I tell you, it is nice because of all the twisty turns. You can take this all the way out to Mount Hamilton, and then from Mount Hamilton you can take it down into San Jose. Makes for a fantastic ride. We're not going that far today. We're just going to go out for a little bit of a ride. We are at mile 6. They even have little mile markers on the pavement. Let you know where you are. The Honda Goldwing F6B handles a lot better than I ever would have thought. I've put about 4,000 miles on this, which is not a lot. I have another bike I've been putting a ton of miles on, so anyways, as I was saying, this bike, I've put about 4,000 miles on it. It took me about a year, and I couldn't make up my mind on what that next bike was going to be. And I really wanted more of a cruiser bike. Cruising? No, not cruiser. I wanted more of a touring bike, but I didn't want all that big luggagey look on the top. And this looked to be good. I'll tell you, the first time I went to look at an F6B, I was like, oh my God, that is a huge bike. Now, I had owned, while I was looking, a BMW R1200 RT at the time, 2014, and I had also had a 2009 BMW R1200 RT, and quite a few other bikes just through my shop. So I was trying to compare a few different things, like the K1600, which is technically on paper a better bike than the RT, but it just feels heavy in all the wrong ways, so it doesn't make you really enjoy the ride the way the RT does. And then these I've heard just great things about, but when you go to sit on one, you're just like, oh my God, look how big this thing is. And I was just like, I couldn't get that through my head. I was like, this bike is it's long, it's sleek out the back. I'll show you here in a few minutes, but it took me a year. I kept going and looking. I finally found a place to go look at all the bikes I was thinking of, from Harley Davidson, Indian, BMW, the K1600, the R1200 RT, Yamaha's FJ, the Kawasaki Concourse, all of which I have ridden before and have had, put hundreds of miles on, not thousands, but hundreds of miles on all of those. And I just wasn't sure. And after sitting on them all, I will tell you what I came away with is that the bike that felt the lightest was the heaviest. The bike that felt the heaviest was the second heaviest, but it makes sense, I guess. But when you come thinking about why did that other bike feel so heavy, it's because the weight was up higher, and anytime it would lean, it would feel like it's going to fall over. Whereas this bike and the RT, so the BMW RT and the Goldwing, the motors sit really low, and the heads go out from there, so all the mass is at one sort of general height within the bike. So when the bike starts to lean, it really doesn't change that weight distribution, where on the K1600 all the weight is well above the axles, so when you start to lean it, when it's sitting still, all that weight has to now transfer onto you. You need to hold it up, and it makes it feel really heavy. Once you're doing over 15 miles an hour, that does go away. And but I do push bikes in and out of my garage all the time, and you got to back them up, and all that kind of stuff. It just makes you not enjoy the bike quite as much. So then I was down to, well, 2 bikes out of all of those that I really liked, and I still like the RT, and I like this. And just sitting on this bike, I was just like, I could just imagine how, you know, the comfort and the feel of what I wanted in a touring bike. And so I just said, I'm going for it. I'm buying a big touring bike. And I did. Now, I am so pleasantly surprised at just how well this thing handles. It corners really well, and it's so effortless through the corners. And the weight distribution keeps, you know, like when you go into a corner, like I'll go into this corner right here, I set the corner like where I want to be. I can brake, I can go faster, but it just sits in the corner just the way I want it to. It doesn't get upset in the corners. So if I got on the brakes, let's say I get on the brakes, there's nobody behind me, it still maintains that corner. Maintains my lean angle, it doesn't upset it. Even on the RT, which is really good, by the way, when you get on the brakes pretty hard, the bike tends to stand a little bit. Not much, but a little tiny bit. On the other K1600 and those other bikes, when you get on the brakes, it definitely changes the handling characteristics of the bikes. Now, they can all be good, and you use that to your advantage, it's fine. But I just absolutely love this and the way it handles these corners. It's really amazing. Now, in a parking lot, you would think such a big bike, you know, making U-turns, this thing will turn on, it's unbelievable. So in 2 parking spaces, there's those white lines, I can turn without having to put my feet down. I can spin around and do a circle within 2 parking spaces. And that is just one of the activities I do when I practice, you know, my low speed stuff. And it is so easy on this bike, it's just amazing. Anyways, always say a grain of salt with people's review on their bikes, because whatever they have is going to be the best bike in the world. So I'm like telling you, I love this bike, it's the best bike in the world for me, for now. And if you know me, you know I've gone through hundreds and hundreds of motorcycles. Part of that's due to having a dealership and I could change bikes all the time, but you know, I just kept looking for what's the right bike for me, and I could change that and change my mind all the time. Now I've come down to 2 bikes that I absolutely love. They are 2 completely different purposes, and it just is, for me, the best of both worlds. So I've changed out my off-road or my adventure bike to a lightweight, small displacement adventure bike. And for touring, I've gone up and got basically the heaviest bike you possibly can. And and I love it, just absolutely love it. All right, so let's take a look. So I added the cruise control. That's about $1,000 option, and will take a few days to do it. So that's a consideration. You get the backrest with the deluxe model. This has a luggage rack, and this is something I was after. When you look at the back of this bike, I didn't want that big boxy luggage on the back. I know the passenger can love it because they got armrests and all that, but it just looks so bulky. On the F6B, they've also lowered sort of the stance of the bike. The seat's a little lower, and you don't have that big top box. Other than that, pretty, you know, the looks are a little bit different. So the windshield, or the windscreen, it comes with a windscreen that comes to about here. This one adds another 4 inches or something. I think that's about perfect. I know that the mirrors are different than on the standard Goldwing, but I don't know. People say it's like they're flipped or something. They come up higher rather than going lower. They're really a perfect position. I just absolutely love them. They work great. The headlights are amazing on these things. This is like one of the first bikes I haven't changed the headlights out on. But I love this black beauty. It just, look how long it is. It's so huge. See this? This is what I couldn't get over, is just how long this bike looks. Absolutely huge, but I absolutely love it. Let me open up one of these trunks here and show you. So you go to the back and you put the key in back here. You turn the key, then you pop this and it opens up. And it's more like a trunk than it is regular storage on other bikes. So you've got quite a bit of volume in here, but there is some, you know, part of that is taken up by some of the bike in here. But you can hold quite a bit of stuff. It's definitely sufficient for long weekends, long trips. I know people pack for months on these things, so
But one of my goals is that I wanted to be able to put a bag on the back of it. So one, I could put a tent. I can put a tent on this rack. I can also put a waterproof duffel bag on here, and it still doesn't get in the way of my passenger. So my passenger can go. We can carry a lot more stuff in a duffel bag than we can in one of those top boxes. Anyways, this is the view of the Honda F6B. Absolutely love it.
This is headed down Mines Road now. You can enjoy a little bit of the twisties and listen to a couple of tunes.